Perhaps you didn't expect, but we ourselves were surprised that there is not even half a line about the raccoon on the channel. And this despite the fact that this animal, in all its essence, fits perfectly into the concept of victorious nature. Well, it's time to fix the raccoon deficiency. Let's go! Give the raccoon 5, subscribe to the channel, and express your opinion about the raccoon in the comments. And let's get started! In general, the entire appearance and lifestyle of the raccoon fit into one short line. A cunning animal with a striped bottom. But you probably already know this without our tips. So now let's talk about other details. Historically, the raccoon has settled in vast areas of North and Central America. A striped dummy the size of a large cat, 45 to 60 centimeters, but noticeably heavier. Its weight reaches 9 kilograms. And as we know from the example of cats, moderate fullness and a sweet face are more than enough to jump into people's hearts at the first attempt. And he got there. Even in the pre-internet era, this cute animal impressed people so much that we expanded the raccoon's habitat and settled it in Europe. However, in those primeval times, he was valued exclusively as a fur-bearing animal. Now the entire internet is littered with images of this cunning creature. Well, how can you not fall in love with this cutie? But let's get back to the colonization of Europe by raccoons.
Someone's knocking at the door. Who could it be? Is it Roxy? Girlfriend?
These beasts were able to survive on the territory of the new continent thanks to innate features. Warm skin, developed front grips, and restless intelligence. And all would be fine, but the last 2 points made them the most real criminals. An extraordinary mind allows them to create sabotage with incredible grace for an animal, and with one dexterous movement of its paws, the animal will open a trash can, a lock on your purse, and even a fridge. And it would be fine if the raccoon was clumsy, but no. With the grace of a cat, this striped potato will climb anywhere. On a roof, on a tree, jump over a fence, or into a pipe. And even if the bully is caught at the scene of the crime, the scoundrel will simply make sad eyes, pretend to be guilty through and through, and will piteously beg to be released. Of course, this thief, in principle, is not able to feel remorse. He only pretends to avoid punishment from a weak-willed person, and many people are being fooled. Nature has put a black mask of a thief on the raccoon's face, and the animal uses it to its fullest. In the ability to open anything and take away everything interesting, only a monkey can compare with it. Raccoons visit the fields, sneak into houses, dig into garbage cans, and conduct raids on restaurant kitchens. They steal food first of all, but not only that. The internet is full of videos with titles in the style of Village Crime Chronicles. Raccoon stole a phone. Raccoon stole a pink clutch from a tourist. Raccoon stole food from a cat. The latter, by the way, happens often. Next to the object of the theft, there is always a barrel of water for rinsing it. The range of reactions to these atrocities is very wide. Farmers shoot raccoons, and restaurateurs make their visits an attraction for visitors. If something cannot be defeated, you need to figure out how to use it. Thanks to permissiveness, raccoons are moving en masse to human-occupied territories. Instead of river valleys and dense forests, they inhabit landfills and vegetable gardens, and the standard ration of berries, nuts, and small vertebrates is replaced by what is obtained and stolen from people. The result of such a diet is dug garbage dumps, broken fences, and hacked chicken coops. and even domestic raccoons are no better. Only training is able to smooth out the sharpest corners of their characters. But the adventurous nature still does not allow the beast to sit still. Drown and thoroughly rinse your brand new iPhone. No problem. By the way, the raccoon's desire to wash everything also comes from their intellect. Thanks to their sensitive feet, animals can easily find and wash away dirt from food. To chew on all the wires in the house. Yes, please. This creature will destroy the whole house if you do not pay enough attention to it. But in captivity, fluffy bandits live 4 times longer, 20 years instead of 5 in the wild. In other matters, there are no differences. Even their mating games are identical. However, it is a stretch to call it games. With the beginning of the breeding season, girls begin to look closely at the males, choose the most beautiful ones, and drag them into the bushes. Crazed by such impudence, the guys refuse all rights to future children and proudly dissolve in the rays of the sunset. After 2.5 months of pregnancy, the raccoon will give birth to 3 to 7 babies and will cherish them for about 3 months. And now, after only 6 months, new cunning and skimming of the animal world will set off to amuse this world. Even the numerous predators that are trying to hunt them will not save us, because these guys have stolen something that guarantees them the prosperity of the species. They stole our hearts. What else interesting can you tell about raccoons? Probably this is the fact that in addition to the perfect tactile apparatus and a very high intelligence and sweetness, the raccoon can boast of a sharp hearing and excellent night vision like a cat. This allows him to be nocturnal. Still, no matter how cute this animal may seem, it is a predator. Raccoons, like others, love water and try to settle near it. They swim excellently. The mother begins to teach this to the young very early, already in the 2nd month of life. In the life of every animal, there are situations when the most reasonable thing is to pretend to be dead. This reaction is called thanatosis, or imaginary death. For several minutes, the animal does not move at all, practically does not breathe, and is outwardly indistinguishable from a corpse. This trick is very popular among arthropods, reptiles, and amphibians. But among mammals, it was mastered only by marsupial possums and raccoons. Americans even have the expression, playing a possum. The fact is that dying for fun is not as easy for a mammal as it might seem. In a state of imaginary death, the nervous activity of arthropods really decreases, but the mammalian brain continues to work, and at a high speeds. In order not to screw up, the poor beast controls himself with all his might. Yes, he looks dead, but what does it cost him? Therefore, mammals can be in thanatosis for a very short time, usually less than a minute. Moreover, it is easier for a possum. He is a marsupial, that is, rather primitive. But for a raccoon, playing a possum is not easy, but the desire to survive helps, and possibly great acting talent. Raccoons acclimatized in Europe in the first half of the 20th century, and in many of its regions became a thriving species. They also became synanthropic, that is, living next to a person and often at his expense, like a muskrat. There are many more animals in cities and suburbs than in forests. And so much that in some places in Germany the insolence and the large number of raccoons brought the orderly population to a boiling point. For example, residents of the city of Kassel, through the press, call raccoons furry fascists and demand that the government take decisive measures against them. And raccoons captured Japan with the help of the cartoon. They never lived there until in 1977 the anime series Rascal the Raccoon, starring a raccoon, was released. After that, the Japanese seem to have become obsessed with striped animals, and enterprising traders began to supply them from the United States. When the government woke up and imposed a ban on imports, it was too late. And finally, information for those who decided to get a raccoon. A raccoon can be tamed with only one condition. If he gets into the house very young, at the age of a month and a half, if contact with a person has not been established before a month and a half, the animal will no longer become tame, and in response to attempts to treat it like a cat, it will only hiss and snarl. And even after living under the same roof with a man, a raccoon can go into the wild and perfectly adapt to natural conditions. So the victorious march of raccoons around the world will continue. After all, if somewhere an inventive animal is brought up that can escape and adapt in the wild, it will certainly run away and adapt. And raccoons are geniuses of adaptation, and also very cute intellectual geniuses. Well, that concludes our today's episode. Be healthy, take care of your animals, and see you soon!